With crushing pressures, almost complete darkness, and scarce food sources, the deepest parts of the world's oceans seem virtually uninhabitable. Yet there are countless species that have evolved incredible adaptations, allowing them to thrive in these extreme conditions. Many of these creatures are among the strangest ever discovered. Join us in today's video as we dive into the murky depths and uncover the top 15 most unusual deep-sea animals recently discovered. Number 15. Glass octopus. Found at depths in the tropical and subtropical oceanic regions worldwide, the glass octopus is a peculiar species that, as the name would suggest, is almost entirely transparent. It has a mantle that grows up to 4.3 inches in length and tentacles that are up to 13 inches long. 6 of their arms are the same length, while the final pair are slightly shorter. They have small suckers with wide gaps between each one and have cylindrical, elongated eyes that severely restrict their field of vision horizontally. Rather than being an unfortunate adaptation, there's actually a good reason for this, along with their transparency, and it all has to do with avoiding predators. Glass octopuses aren't able to swim particularly fast, so they completely rely on being invisible to everything else. Light from above simply passes through them, so they're almost indistinguishable from everything surrounding them. The only colorful parts of them, their eyes, have a reduced silhouette because of their shape. Another unusual thing about them is that as they age, their diet and habitat drastically change. When they're young, they have tough beaks and live in deep water with the ability to tear into the toughened scales of fish that live in that environment. The beaks are eventually shed, though, and replaced by less developed ones. This sees the octopus move to shallower waters where they can feed on softer-bodied prey. Number 14. Giant siphonophore. If you were asked what the longest animal in the world is, you'd probably choose the blue whale or some other huge creature. The surprising answer, though, is the giant siphonophore, a species that was only officially identified in 2020. These marine predators are similar to jellyfish in that they float in the ocean with a series of tentacles hanging from them. When a fish swims into the tentacles, they are injected with venom, and the siphonophore slowly guides the body up towards its main body so it can begin digesting those nutrients. In fact, siphonophores are made up of a number of different clones of themselves that all work together. The longest one to have ever been studied was simply huge, with a length of over 150 feet. This makes it more than twice the length of a blue whale and 3 times the length of a humpback. The recent research that found this monster was conducted in a protected area called the Gascoyne Coast bioregion in Western Australia. This particular discovery was made purely by chance as the submersible was returning to the surface. It's highly likely, therefore, that there are ones far bigger still, and it's hoped that future research trips may be able to find one. Number 13. Sea angel. Sea angels are a wide variety of different species of deep-sea slugs that can be found in almost every ocean on Earth. They are free-swimming, so instead of having a foot that's designed to hold on to something, they use it to propel themselves through the water. With almost entirely translucent bodies, it soon becomes clear why they have this name. They are gelatinous to the touch and grow to a maximum length of around 2 inches. Most have specific prey that they target, such as sea butterflies, and are able to swim much faster than other similar-sized creatures, with a top speed of around 1/5 of a mile per hour. This, of course, is helpful in evading predators as much as it is for capturing prey. But some sea angels have another defensive ability too. They produce a substance called pteranun, which has only ever been found in these animals and, for some reason, prevents natural predators from eating them. It's also common to see large swarms of sea angels. In some cases, as many as 300 of them per 35 cubic feet of water can be found. This allows them to have a much better chance of fending off any attack, as well as giving them the ability to work together to take down prey that's much larger than any individual. Number 12. Dumbo Octopus. With a name that covers 17 known species and potentially many more, Dumbo octopuses are a type of deep-sea octopus that lives in the pelagic zones of oceans worldwide. Because they live in the open water, they've developed ear-like fins above their eyes that they use to swim or glide in the current. They're found at depths between 3,200 and 23,000 feet. They're the deepest living octopuses that we know of and are usually seen moving along the seafloor in search of worms and crustaceans to feed on. They're also strange for octopuses in that they'll continuously spawn, with eggs in various stages of the cycle. Once ready to lay, they will place them in a naturally formed tough casing on deep-sea corals, and they won't stay around to guard or incubate them. Due to their habitat and how rare it is for submersibles to see them in the wild, very little is actually known about their life cycles and how they hunt or escape predators. They don't, for example, have ink sacs or the ability to change color like most other octopuses. So few specimens have ever been available for study that it's hard to make any definitive conclusions on this one. Number 11. Coffin fish. The coffin fish is one of the 17 species of sea toad that are found across the world, but because of the deep environment they live in, they've only been known of since 1997, Growing to be around 9 inches long, they're mainly found in the Pacific but have also been found in the Atlantic Ocean at depths of up to 8,000 feet. In many ways, they are the deep-water equivalent of a pufferfish. Normally, they are ball-like with loose, flabby skin over their bodies, but when they feel in danger, they'll use their gills to fill their bodies with water and increase their size by up to 30%. This causes a series of spine-like scales to become rigid and firmly stick outwards, which gives a nasty surprise to anything trying to bite into them. Cleverly, they also have adaptations that help them hunt food too. In particular, they have an esca on their snout that is either stored by being lowered into a groove on their heads or, when they're hungry, extended forward to act as a lure to attract small creatures like crustaceans or fish. Number 10. Pelican Eel. The pelican eel, which is sometimes referred to as the gulper eel, is a species of eel that typically lives at depths between 1,600 and 9,800 feet. Despite being present in all the oceans of the world, the extreme environment that they live in means very little is really understood about them, and virtually everything has been learned by studying specimens that have been caught in fishing nets. What we do know is that they grow to a length of about 2.5 feet, and their mouths are much larger than the rest of their bodies. Their jaws are loosely hinged, which means they can open extremely wide to swallow prey that's much larger than the eel itself. This oversized mouth is an evolutionary adaptation that allows the eel to capitalize on rare feeding opportunities in the nutrient-scarce depths. When the jaw is closed, it folds neatly into the eel's body, giving it a streamlined appearance for efficient swimming. Scientists believe that the pelican eel's flexible throat can expand like a balloon, allowing it to engulf and digest a wide variety of prey, from small fish to crustaceans. Its stomach also has the remarkable ability to stretch, enabling it to store large meals for extended periods when food is scarce. Despite its bizarre appearance, the pelican eel is incredibly well adapted to its dark, high-pressure environment. Advances in deep-sea exploration have recently allowed researchers to observe pelican eels in their natural habitat, revealing their unique hunting and swimming behaviors. Their lower jaws are so big they represent about a quarter of the eel's length, looking somewhat like that of a pelican. Lacking the fins, swim bladders, and scales of other eels, they have highly developed tails that have an unusual organ at the tip. This not only has a series of tentacles on it, but can also emit light to attract prey towards the eel. Rather than being a passive animal, though, analysis of the stomach contents of several specimens suggests that they are active hunters, whipping their tails back and forth to propel themselves through the water to chase down their next target. Number 9. Dragonfish. Typically growing to around 10 inches long, dragonfish are a group of ray-finned fish that live in deep waters all over the world. Despite being relatively small, they're considered to be apex predators in their ecosystems, and it's because every feature of their bodies has been designed to hunt. Their mouths, for example, have huge jaws that are lined with needle-sharp teeth and are able to open up to 100 degrees wide, which allows them to devour prey that's as much as 50% larger than themselves. Living in such a dark environment, they, like other deep-sea creatures, use bioluminescence to help them track down their next meal. They have an appendage known as a barbel that hangs from their chins, and at the tip of this is a light-producing photophore, with further luminous organs along the sides of their bodies. They're able to produce shades of blue and green, which travel the furthest through water, and can create flashing displays to attract prey. They also use it to communicate with potential mates. One further clever adaptation is that their stomachs are surrounded by jet black walls, and this is to protect them from other predators in the ocean. Most animals that they eat tend to also have bioluminescent abilities, and if they were to produce light while being digested, it could give away their location. So, by blotting this out, the dragonfish can digest in peace. Now it's time for today's topic. A shocking discovery has sent ripples through the scientific community. Biologists conducting research near the Pacific Garbage Patch have documented a mysterious new predator resembling a mutated orca. Unlike typical orcas, this creature's massive jaws, razor-sharp teeth, and abnormal features suggest an alarming anomaly. Experts suspect that prolonged exposure to pollution and radiation in the Pacific Garbage Patch may have triggered genetic mutations in local marine life. This mutant orca appears to be at the top of the food chain, as researchers have observed it aggressively hunting and killing other orcas. This behavior marks a chilling first: cannibalism among orcas, a phenomenon never before documented. Footage captured by underwater drones shows the creature dominating pods of healthy orcas, leaving marine biologists scrambling for answers. Dr. Elena Marquez, a marine biologist leading the study, said, "We've seen signs that pollution can harm marine ecosystems, but this is the first time we've witnessed potential genetic mutations causing predatory shifts." The discovery raises urgent questions about the long-term impact of human activity on marine ecosystems. Could this mutant orca be a warning of greater threats lurking in the ocean depths? For now, the creature remains a haunting reminder of our responsibility to protect the seas. Number 8. Big red jellyfish. First discovered by a remotely operated underwater vehicle in 2003, the Tiburonia granrojo, which means the big red jellyfish, is one of the largest and strangest species of sea jelly that we know of. Since only about 23 specimens have been seen, with only one being retrieved for study, we still have a lot to learn about them. But what we already do know shows just how weird a place the deep ocean can be. Living at depths of around 2,000 to 5,000 feet, they've been found across the Pacific Ocean, such as in the Gulf of California, Monterey Bay, and the waters surrounding Hawaii and off the coast of Japan. One of the most intriguing features of the big red jellyfish is its bright, uniform red coloration, which helps it remain camouflaged in the dim light of the deep sea. Researchers believe this color serves as a form of invisibility at such depths, where red wavelengths of light are quickly absorbed and do not penetrate. Their slow, almost hypnotic movements are thought to conserve energy in an environment where food is scarce. Unlike their translucent relatives, Tiburonia granrojo has a solid, gelatinous appearance, which adds to its eerie presence. Recent studies suggest that its diet might include plankton and small crustaceans, though much of its feeding behavior remains speculative. Observing these creatures in their natural habitat requires advanced deep-sea technology, and each new sighting brings valuable insights into their mysterious lives. Believed to exhibit deep-sea gigantism, they're able to grow to around 30 inches in diameter and are visibly different from other jellyfish species. Instead of having tentacles dangling from a bell, for example, they have between 4 and 7 fleshy oral arms. Scientists aren't yet sure how these are used for hunting without being able to use the technique adopted by most other jellyfish. It's thought that these arms grab onto fish that swim too close and slowly push them up towards the jelly's mouth. There's one thing for certain, though, and that's that we're lucky they only live at depths far beyond where we can swim, because you'd be in for a fright if you found yourself amongst a swarm of these animals. Number 7. Giant Laration. The deep oceans are home to some truly peculiar animals, and the giant larvation is surely up there as one of the most bizarre. It's a type of tunicate, which is an aquatic invertebrate organism that's in the same category as plankton, but these ones live in the deepest part of the open ocean's water column. Despite their name, they are only quite small, typically growing to around the size of your pinky finger, and look similar to a tadpole. They produce a house of cellulose that surrounds the main part of their body as a protective layer, and it'll then produce a separate structure of filters that they'll pass water through with their tails and then feed on whatever is caught. This house is not permanent, as larvaceans frequently abandon and rebuild it when it becomes clogged with debris, contributing to a phenomenon known as marine snow. These discarded structures sink to the ocean floor, carrying trapped organic particles and even microplastics, providing a significant source of carbon export in the deep sea. Their filtering system is so efficient that it can process large volumes of water daily, helping to keep their immediate environment clean. In addition to feeding on particulates, they also play a role in the recycling of nutrients, ensuring a steady supply of resources for other marine organisms. Observing larvaceans in their natural habitat has been challenging, but recent advancements in deep-sea exploration have allowed scientists to study their behavior and unique adaptations more closely. Their delicate, transparent bodies and intricate filtration systems have fascinated marine biologists, highlighting the complexity of life even in the harshest environments. They are a crucial part of the marine ecosystem because of the way they capture small particulates and then themselves become a tasty morsel of food for larger animals. But they've also been seen in recent years to be tackling one of the greatest threats in the world's waters. Larvaceans are able to capture and digest plastic particles, and there are now studies underway to look at the feasibility of releasing large swarms of them onto the Great Pacific Garbage Patch in an attempt to dispose of all the plastic in an environmentally friendly way. Number 6. The Fangtooth. As some of the deepest living known fish of all, the two species of Fangtooth, the common Fangtooth and the short-horned Fangtooth, have been found in the oceans across the planet at depths of up to 16,000 feet. Their name in English refers to the huge fang-like teeth that protrude from the fronts of their mouths, which help them to puncture the skin of their prey. But while they may look frightening, they wouldn't pose any threat to humans because they only grow to a length of around 6.3 inches. In comparison to their body size, Fangtooths have the largest teeth of all fish. Despite their fearsome appearance, Fangtooths are surprisingly poor swimmers, relying on ambush tactics to capture prey. Their dark, scaleless bodies make them nearly invisible in the pitch-black depths, providing a significant advantage when sneaking up on unsuspecting targets. Fangtooths are known to eat a wide variety of prey, including crustaceans, squid, and other small fish, which they consume in a single powerful bite. Scientists believe their highly sensitive lateral line system helps them detect even the faintest movements in the water, guiding them toward potential food. Juvenile Fangtooths look drastically different from adults, with larger heads and smaller teeth, leading researchers to initially believe they were a separate species. These drastic changes during development highlight the unique adaptations needed to survive in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. Because they don't fully sit in their mouths, they've developed specialized grooves in the jaws where the teeth sit when they aren't in use. The benefit of having these fangs is not only can they spear their targets, but they're also able to hunt prey that's much larger than themselves, which is a real advantage when living in an environment where they could go for weeks without encountering another living organism and need to take every opportunity to eat that presents itself. Another unusual thing about this one is that, unlike other species that live at these depths, it's possible to keep them alive in aquariums for extended periods of time, showing just how adaptable they truly are in changing surroundings. Number 5. Sea pig. Scotoplanes, which are more commonly known as sea pigs, are a type of sea cucumber that live in the depths of the ocean, but they look like they'd be more at home on an alien world. They're typically found on the seafloor in the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans at depths of up to 16,000 feet, although closely related species have also been found in the Antarctic and other regions that are in deep places. What look like limbs are, in fact, tube feet, and these are connected to the water vascular system throughout their bodies that allow them to keep a rigid structure in the environment that they live in. Their pale, translucent bodies give them an almost ghostly appearance, perfectly suited to the dark, cold waters they inhabit. Sea pigs play a vital role in deep-sea ecosystems as detritivores, helping to recycle nutrients by consuming organic debris that settles on the ocean floor. They are slow-moving creatures, yet their ability to detect food sources from afar is remarkable, often attributed to the chemical cues in their environment. Researchers have observed that sea pigs can form symbiotic relationships with smaller organisms like crustaceans, which sometimes hitch rides on their bodies for protection or transportation. Despite their bizarre appearance, they are surprisingly resilient and well-adapted to their extreme habitat, thriving where few other organisms can survive. Advances in deep-sea exploration have allowed scientists to study their behavior more closely, uncovering their crucial role in maintaining the health of oceanic food webs. There aren't as many predators as their shallower water cousins face, so these sea cucumbers are very different from the ones that are more commonly seen. They have antennae on their heads, which are technically feet, but are used to search around in pitch-black surroundings, where they sift through the mud in search of organic material. It's rare to see one of these on their own, as they live in colonies of potentially hundreds of individuals. When a large food source falls to the bottom, such as the carcass of a dead whale, thousands can be attracted to feast. Number 4. Blobfish. Alright, possibly the strangest-looking ocean creature that we know of is the Psychroletes microporos, more commonly known as the blobfish. It's a deep-sea species that lives at depths between 3,000 and 19,000 feet in the waters around Australia and New Zealand. The first specimen was captured in 1983, and scientists couldn't believe what they were looking at. But since further individuals have been found, it's become clear that not all is exactly as it seems. They are well known for their globular appearance, seeming almost like a human face has been made from soggy, gelatinous substances. Unlike many other fish, blobfish lack swim bladders, a feature that helps shallow-water fish stay buoyant, because such an organ would collapse under the intense pressure of their deep-sea environment. Instead, their bodies are made of a gelatinous substance slightly less dense than water, allowing them to float just above the seafloor with minimal energy expenditure. They feed by passively waiting for small crustaceans and other organisms to drift into their path, an energy-efficient strategy ideal for survival in nutrient-scarce environments. Their unassuming and efficient lifestyle makes them well-adapted to one of the most inhospitable habitats on Earth. Despite their reputation as one of the world's ugliest animals, blobfish have become an unlikely mascot for ocean conservation, symbolizing the challenges of deep-sea life. The damage caused to their populations by deep-sea trawling has raised awareness of the fragile ecosystems found in the depths of the ocean. They weigh around 4 pounds, are white in color, and have an extremely wide mouth. But this isn't what the fish normally looks like. Because they live at such depths, they live in an environment where they're exposed to extreme pressure. Animals in this situation don't often have skeletal structures, so instead rely on the pressure of the water to hold their bodies together. When they're alive, they look recognizably like any other type of fish and certainly nowhere near as strange as the captured specimens have. The reason for this difference is that when they're caught at depth and brought to the surface too quickly, the fast drop in pressure causes the cells in their tissue to rupture and lose their cohesiveness. The result is the strange mound of flesh that we now know is a blobfish, something that you'll unfortunately never have to worry about encountering when you're swimming in the water. Number 3. Barreleye. Very little light manages to penetrate to the depths of the ocean, so animals that live there have to adapt to this way of life. While some may use bioluminescence to find their way around, there's a group of fish that have gone in a completely different direction. There are 21 known species of barreleye, which are present in oceans around the world. While their body shapes may differ substantially, they each use the same unique method of seeing their surroundings, which also makes them one of the most unusual-looking fish of all. This is because they have eyes that are barrel-shaped and tubular and actually look upwards. Their eyes are surrounded by a clear, dome-shaped shield filled with fluid, which protects them from debris and helps focus the faint light that reaches these depths. This adaptation allows them to detect even the faintest movements of prey swimming above them. Scientists believe this unique visual system evolved due to the extreme scarcity of light and food in their habitat, making precision crucial for survival. Barrel eyes are known to hover motionlessly in the water, using their transparent heads to scan for the silhouettes of small crustaceans and jellyfish. Once they spot their prey, their agile eye movements give them an edge, allowing them to swiftly orient themselves for the hunt. Despite their eerie appearance, these fish play a vital role in the deep-sea ecosystem by keeping populations of smaller creatures in balance. This allows them to discern shadows against the shimmering light above and means they can either plan an attack on potential prey or plan an escape from a predator. It's not all that unusual about their eyes, though, because the front parts of their heads are completely transparent. This is because they're actually able to control the movement of the eyes so they can rotate down and instead look directly ahead. This whole design is to maximize the amount of light that enters the head and therefore the eyes, with a much higher level of sensitivity than in almost any other animal. All barrel eyes are able to see in a way no other creature at depth can. Number 2. Chimera. Chimeras, which are often called ghost sharks, are a type of fish that are most closely related to sharks and rays, although they diverged from them in the evolutionary chain around 400 million years ago. They were once a huge biological group that were present in all oceans at all depths around the world, but this has now changed. While they're still in the oceans apart from the Arctic and Antarctic ones, they're usually found at depths between 600 and 8,500 feet. Unlike their shark relatives, chimeras have smooth skin instead of rough dermal denticles, which gives them a uniquely sleek appearance. Their large, reflective eyes are specially adapted to the low-light conditions of the deep sea, allowing them to navigate and hunt in near-total darkness. One fascinating adaptation is the placement of their reproductive organs, which are located on their heads, a feature that has puzzled scientists for decades. Chimeras also have specialized fins that they use for slow, graceful swimming, making them appear ghostly as they glide through the water. Some species display bioluminescence, which is thought to play a role in communication or attracting mates in the deep sea. Despite their ancient lineage, these creatures remain elusive, with many of their behaviors and life cycles still shrouded in mystery. Developing long, soft bodies with large heads and just a single gill opening, chimeras tend to grow to a maximum length of 4.9 feet and share a few similar features to modern-day sharks. Their skeletons are, for example, made of cartilage, and they can use electroreception to find prey and lay similar leathery eggs. Some species do, however, also have venomous spines like the ones some rays have, and instead of having replaceable sharp teeth, they have 3 rows of grinding plates. There's no doubt that when seen at depth, chimeras look like ancient creatures, and because of their habitat, many species remain a mystery to science. There are currently 50 known species of chimera that are still alive, but some believe there could be many more and possibly some that grow much, much larger. Number 1. Goblin Shark. Often said to be living fossils because they can be traced back to fish that were alive 125 million years ago, goblin sharks are some of the strangest aquatic animals that have ever been discovered. Growing to a maximum length of around 20 feet, they live at depths of more than 330 feet and are believed to venture as deep as 4,200 feet for brief periods of time. Present in all oceans of the world, they get their name from their freakish heads, which have a long, flat snout along with a mouth that's full of needle-like teeth. Their snouts are lined with special electroreceptors, which allow them to detect the faint electrical signals of nearby prey, even in complete darkness. The goblin shark's distinctive pink coloration comes from its translucent skin, which reveals the blood vessels beneath, giving it a haunting, otherworldly appearance. They are rarely encountered by humans, and most of what scientists know about them comes from specimens accidentally caught in deep-sea fishing nets. Despite their terrifying looks, goblin sharks are not considered a threat to humans, as they inhabit depths far beyond typical diving zones. Recent studies have revealed that their jaws are capable of slingshot-like movement, enabling them to snatch prey with incredible speed and precision. When they're feeding, their jaws extend unusually far in front of their resting position. Because of where they live, Very little is actually known about their behavior, but their weak muscles, small fins, and poorly calcified skeletons suggest they're slow and fairly inactive animals. They are therefore most likely to be ambush predators, which is something made easier by their oily livers that help them to be naturally buoyant. They can use this to drift towards their potential prey without any movement, which means they avoid detection. Once they're on top of their victim, they can snap into action. Which of these sea creatures intrigued you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out our other videos showing up on the screen. See you next time.